This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 690 for January 11th, 2021. A weak link.
Just shy, that's all.
Link doesn't talk a whole lot.
Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hello.
And the Nymph.
Marzipan, check it out.
Hot new food, marzipan, hitting the streets.
Speaking of which, patreon.com/E1M1.
Yeah, patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. Get the Outcast, where we talk about
how to make it.
This week, a lot of food. Yeah, and a recipe for hot new recipe for how to make marzipan. If you haven't heard of it before, check it out. Outcast is we talk about a lot of stuff on the Outcast this week.
Yes,
that is exclusive for patrons. The $5 a month tier is the recommended one. You'll get access to that and early access to We Roguelike It, the show where we play roguelikes, Moon, Monkey, and myself, and then 2-month early access to Critical Misses, the show where we go through and we experience media that we have missed.
It's definitely appropriate for this one, which doesn't come out for another 2 months.
Yeah, it's season 5 it's an experience, with a capital E. It is, yeah, it's pretty good. Patreon.com/E1M1. Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Okay, well, I have been playing the thank you very much patrons, especially during this wonderful time where everybody is struggling for being patrons.
Yes.
And if you ain't a patron, that's fine. Thank you for listening anyway.
That's true. Thank you for being part of the best community on the internet.
Uh-huh. And also tell 2 friends.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Okay, so this week, long story short, my head was kind of up my backside. I didn't really know what I felt like playing. I just wrapped up Assassin's Creed Valhalla until a patch comes out. Mm-hmm. So I was like, what should I play? Oh, I know. I'll front load my week and I'll play 3 solid days of the We Roguelike It game, which is Enter the Gungeon, patreon.com/E1M1.
Right.
And I will wrap up the Game Club game, which I know Boston hasn't started yet.
I absolutely have started it. You're giving me a look. I'm playing it.
The eyes of judgment.
I was playing it last night. I don't put a lot of shotguns into a lot of werewolves, ?
Okay, at least I know you're playing it or watching it.
Yes. No, I'm playing this one so far.
But yeah, I finished my 2nd playthrough of it. Thank you very much.
Oh, hello.
I needed to get a jump on this one because otherwise, as Musum correctly pointed out, normally I start on the game late.
This is Metro 2033 Redux. I don't think we've said the title yet.
That is correct. Okay. I start late. It's a good thing I didn't with this game. So I'm glad it's done. I got all the achievements in the Redux version, which...
Congrats.
Thank you. More thoughts on that to come.
Maybe
that's in our Game Club episode.
Saturday.
How hard was it to get all the achievements in that game? I just assumed that those were going to be difficult, but...
The Redux version was put out by Deep Silver, I believe, after they picked up THQ's library.
Yeah.
They're a lot more forgiving than the original developers were.
Okay. I thought I remember them being hard, but then I saw your Twitter post. I'm like, oh, maybe I just didn't remember or they changed it.
Hey, don't dismiss my achievement getting abilities.
I'm not. It was just, it seemed like a very short time span that you got all the achievements in, so...
Not one of those lists where you look at it and you go no, what the... Yeah. What do you... No... This game doesn't even have multiplayer. Why
there are still people who are playing Star Ocean that don't have the platinum, and that game came out in 2004 because it's all RNG. So
Yep.
Burn in hell.
Oh, I know. No, the 360 versions actually had, like, you have to play every difficulty on both of the game modes, Spartan and Survival. And the achievements didn't stack, so you had to do them all.
Oh, God.
So the 360 version was a nightmare, but I never played the 360 version. We just bought it, never played it, and then bought the remakes when they were on sale. So
That checks out.
pay for the same game twice, play it once. That's fine.
Support the industry.
But no, yeah. But I didn't know what to play, so I'm looking at my list, and I've got a bunch of crap installed, and I'm like, I should really play some of these games. Like, I was looking at my games list, and I was like, look at all these Game Pass games I've got.
That was what I was doing on my Xbox today, where I'm like, look at all these games I have installed. All of them have the Game Pass icon. Just pick one of them. Just pick one of them and start playing them.
You know what the scariest thing is? If you go to the My Games and Apps section, there is a surprise me button where it will just load up a random game for you.
That's great. I don't think I have that many games installed. I only have it was 57% of my internal Series X storage taken up, so it's like not that much.
I still have 350 games installed.
There you go. You need a surprise me button for sure. I just it fits on one page.
I might actually do it just like every couple of weeks, just hit the surprise me button and sink a couple of hours into a game. Because at the moment, I don't know what I want to play. It's like I want to play Yakuza 7, but I've also got 0, Kiwami, Kiwami 2, Kiwami 3, Kiwami 4, Kiwami 5, and so on and so forth to play.
Yep.
There's a lot of games I've got that I've started and just not put any time into. So anyway, I was going through my games list and I was like, I've got a bunch of games here I need to install. Or I need to beat. So, you don't have to write these down, Boston, because you feel free to write them down if you want.
I will put my pen down.
This will be a
good night pen.
Four games with a two sentences about each.
Lightning round.
Yeah, and I have called these quote unquote minimalist games.
Okay.
Because there is no better use of my Xbox Series X than playing games on a 4K TV that look like they render in 480p.
Great. The next gen is finally here.
Uh-huh. And it's even better because I'm pretty sure that one of these is a Game Jam game that just happened to get released.
Okay.
Okay. I think they're all out by the same developer based on the fact that they're all 480p. They all look kind of similar. They have basic functionality.
All right. You're really selling me with this description of these games. They work. Ooh, hello.
Oh, and more than can be said about Cyberpunk.
Hey, topical.
Nothing but net. However, they are easy achievement games. So that might explain where we picked them up at some point. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was my daftness or my partner's daftness, but we definitely were daft at some point.
Okay.
It's one of those things like Reticala Games. Like, that's a publisher I'd never heard of until they released a whole bunch of games that were easy gamerscore. And now I keep an eye on them because they've put some solid games out on the Xbox, which I've enjoyed playing. Same with Annapurna. Most of their games are relatively easy gamerscore games, but I don't think they've put out a single bad game.
Yeah.
If you haven't played it, go play What Remains of Edith Finch. It's on Game Pass now. You have zero excuses.
That's right. God, please go play that game. It's like 4 hours long. Please go play it.
And I'm pretty sure it's been free on every platform at least once at some point outside of Game Pass. So
yeah, like you go check your consoles and your computer. It's probably you own it somewhere.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so first game, ReactorX, because he's going to give it to you. It's a very simple block puzzle game. It's like a move these boxes around. They have basically lights that come out, and you have to power these floor panels. Essentially,
I like games like that. Yeah.
It's very, very basic. It starts getting complicated. Maybe 2 or 3. You're repairing a ship. It's got like 4 sections. Like, hold port, starboard, bow. It's like stern, port, starboard, and then bow. I'm halfway through like the starboard side at the moment, but like you take these little boxes, you move them. They have lines that come up or off the box, and like sometimes it's like the Tetris T shape, and it will only light up above, below, and across in a line.
Right.
Sometimes it's across, sometimes it's just a horizontal line or a vertical line. And you have to basically put them where they will light every single block on the floor. That completes the level, you go to the next level. Super basic, and it's fine. It's nothing special, and I'm pretty sure it's in the store right now for like $2. So
it sounds like it's a good palate cleanser too, where it's like it's not going to be the hardest thing you've ever played, but it's fun and like nothing
the same
crazy.
Could be said for all of these 4 games I'm going to talk about. Like,
okay,
there is one of them which I think might garner your interest, but we'll get there at the end because it's the one that I know I'm leaving to last. Explorer of the Night is the name of the next game.
I love their second album. It's so underrated.
So, to give you an idea how I know this is the same developer, by the way, is because it comes up with that whole thing in the corner saying connecting to Xbox Live in font that's like 6 times too big and very pixelated for my screen.
On a 4K TV, it's like 10 inches tall.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then the title card for the game is in the center, like you're trying to play Doom in 30 by 30.
You're hitting the minus button, like, minus.
Quake is probably the better reference for that, because that's the one where you shrink it down to give them more frame rate. But yeah, it's like that, like a big black screen with this tiny little stamp of a title screen in the middle.
Explorer of the Night.
It full screens it, and then it's like, oh boy, you are just totally running at like 480. It reminds me of like playing original Xbox games on the Series X.
Right, where you're like,
use the One X.
There was no lighting in this game at all. Oh, oof. Okay.
But these are all like very pixel art, by the way, like top down pixel art, like very basic, minimal indie games.
Like you said, like maybe 1 or 2 people game jam sort of thing. Like we're not throwing shade for anyone that thinks we're being here like, oh, look at this idiot made a video game, put it on a console. Like, oh,
no,
good,
but
good
when the A button is as big as my cat's head, that's kind of saying something.
Right.
Like the A button logo, I should say.
Right.
But yeah, Explorer of the Night it's a 2D side-scrolling platformer. And it's, again, very simple. You got jump controls. You're like I think you're a mouse or a cat jumping through the forest. It's really weird because you move faster when you're crouched because you're on all fours. So you actually move faster across the floor,
that's actually pretty clever.
It's nice. I don't know if it was intentional, but it's definitely nice.
Right.
The thing that sticks out to this, and this, all my fellow older than 25-year-old English people and the UK people are going to know this. The art style reminds me of Dizzy. Like, it's a
ZX Spectrum game?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a black background with like maybe a single line tree that you'll see. He's pulling up images of it now. And you are on the foreground, and it's just like a brown outline with a white mouse or cat, whatever it is. And then you literally, it's just a side-scrolling platformer, but it runs smooth. It controls okay. But it's just like, this just takes me back to like putting that cassette in and hitting play and then hoping it loads and the cassette isn't scratched. Which,
man.
Dizzy was a nightmare of a game. I adore it, but very much like the Oddworld games, it's a nightmare.
Yep.
But Explorer of the Night's fine. It's not great. Again, these are very indie games, whatever. Smart Moves is the name of the next one.
Okay.
That's a square-based puzzler, is how I've written this here, which is, it's a block of squares. You have chests, you have snakes. Open the chests to get the treasure to finish the level. Attack the snakes first to kill the snakes, or later levels, the spiders. If you are next to a snake, you move into it, you do the first move. If you move into a space the snake is moving into, it does the first move and kills you. Now, negotiate around the level, getting all of the chests, and making the movements in the correct order to make sure that the snake doesn't bite you and kill you.
It's oddly like, it sounds a little bit like Lara Croft in Hitman Go.
It's that kind of, yes.
Yeah.
Except it's not like specific lines, it's just a big, like, graph paper, like, thing with, like, Indiana Jones wannabe trying to collect all of his gold and stuff like that.
Right.
I do have 4 visual novels on my list that I have to play.
Oh, snap.
They are coming up soon.
Yeah.
They are the ones by Redux games that we have installed that I need to get finishing playing.
Okay.
However, my last game from this group of 4, it's called Castle of No Escape.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if you've ever heard about this little game called Rogue.
I mean, I've heard of it.
But this is kind of like Rogue. And it's...
Okay.
Not to say that it's roguelike.
Right.
It's literally like Rogue.
Right.
This is going to be interesting.
You know, all you did was just flip the order of the words, right?
Yes, I know, but it's not a roguelike in the genre sense. It's more like Rogue. This is where I think these games might have come from game jams, is because if you pull up the instructions for this, it's got a very quickly moving text screen, and it says something to do with a game jam in like the credits. So that's why I think this one might be a game jam. But basically, you get given a big block of squares. You pick your characters to start with. There's 3. You get a big block of squares. Each has a question mark on them. When you go to the question mark, it reveals what's in the room. You can fight the animals that are in there. Or fight the creatures. There's stairs up. There's stairs down. You have to collect 5 like things to make you the ultimate Thanos kind of thing. And you collect potions. You talk to vendors. You can buy potions. Collect books and spells and things like that. I hate how much I like this game.
I'm watching the trailer now, and it looks pretty cool.
Like, it's super simple and super basic, and to use our roguelike terminology here, a run can start and end in about 4 seconds flat if you have bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm playing it on a Series X, let me tell you about some load times.
Yeah, I have the trailer over here on stream.
Like, it's genuinely just a fun little game. It doesn't require thought. It doesn't require me to sit there and doom scroll Twitter, which I thought we were done with 9 days ago, but apparently not.
Right.
You know.
That was the power of the SSD. It had to stop doom scrolling.
Exactly. But that's the same thing with this game. Is like it's just a nice and simple, not a point and click adventure. But do you see what I mean when I say it's a rogue? It's
this
like
is reminding me a lot of DOS games.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Rogue.
It very much reminds me of like stuff that would have come out in like the late 80s, early 90s. That's very much like 1 or 2 people that like lived together and they were just like, hey, let's make a game. Or it's like 2 brothers that made a game. And it looks pretty cool, actually.
There is a sequel.
Okay.
I haven't played the sequel. I don't think I own the sequel at all. But I'm probably going to bump off what I've got left to do in this, which this is, I'm not going to lie, like, I think you described it best, like, palette cleanser is the perfect thing for that.
Whoa. Look at Castle of No Escape 2. This game's wild. So Castle No Escape 2 looks like it's essentially the same thing, but if they mushed it together with
please say Dizzy.
Oh god, what is that game? I'll have to look it up. It's like a twin stick shooter almost. There's that Jeff Gerstmann loves that like super classic arcade game.
Oh, you're talking about the one with the circle?
Yeah. Someone's yelling at us. You pick up money. Yeah.
Yes, you pick up money in the first one too. It's a dungeon crawler. You have to get to buy the potions. Yeah, but Castle of No Escape is kind of fun. Like, it's dumb. Don't get me wrong, it's dumb. And I think each of these at the time was like probably like less than $1 a piece when they were originally picked up on sale. But you know, I need to clear out some of my games, and why not get rid of the ones that take up 12 megabytes instead of the ones that take up, 58 gig?
Right.
Although, speaking of games that take 58 gig, my final game this week is Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Which I had... This is the downside that the Game of the Year can do to us. To me specifically. Which is... obviously not this year's Game of the Year, but last year's Game of the Year when Jedi Fallen Order came out. It came out kind of late. Not super late, not Cyberpunk late, but late.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to see that game through to the end in time for Game of the Year. So I did what I normally don't do, and I didn't get all of the collectibles on my way through the game, and I didn't get all of the secrets on my way through the game. I got to a point, and then I just power Jedi'd my way all the way through to the end.
Right.
Which I'm glad I did, because that game made my top 10, mostly because of that ending sequence that they then went and spoiled in a trailer.
Yeah. Which is why I don't watch trailers.
Forgot about that.
Because for me, that was awesome. And for you guys, you were like, yeah, we saw that before the game came out.
Oh, no, I didn't see that trailer until after I got that moment. I was like, I hate you for putting that trailer out because you ruined the best moment of this game. Because I adored that moment.
The game I was thinking of is Smash TV.
Smash TV. Okay.
Just like a rogue-like Smash TV, which is interesting. Yeah.
I look forward to playing the sequel then. But, I was like, the problem with that is, like, I powered my way to the end of it, and then I stopped playing it, and I had it installed on my hard drive for a full calendar year before I went back to it again. So, in my indecision of not knowing what I wanted to do and what I wanted to play, I was like, sod it, I'm just gonna... This Jedi Fallen Order, it's like... second row of my games when sorted by size. It's a single player game. I could knock that thing out the park, get it uninstalled, and there's another 58 gig to install the honey trap.
Replace that with yet a bigger game.
Yes, yet a bigger game has now replaced that game, which might be my favorite text response, which was just "Let's go" with like 15 O's
Moon is like,
at the end of it.
Sent me a screenshot. A picture from his phone of a game he had installed, and I couldn't find the like overly ugly yelling baseball image that is always the "Let's go." So I just typed that out and put some of the flexing arms there.
Yes,
pretty excited
because apparently it's that time of the year where we all need to look into our horoscopes and view our destinies.
Boo. Get out.
But yeah, I went back, I played Jedi Fallen Order, and I used it as... Same as the other games, to be honest. I used it as I'm turning my brain off. Yeah. I'm just going to go get these collectibles. I'm going to knock out these last 7 achievements that I need, and I'm going to be done. Problem solved. And also, I may or may not be part of the 10,000 Gamerscore challenge that Microsoft has going on right now, where if you get... For every point of Gamerscore you get that number back in reward points up to 10,000. That's $10 for free.
Yep.
So why would I not do that and then do the same thing I did last time and just buy a $70 game with my with my Microsoft reward points?
Right.
But yeah, Jedi Fallen Order is still so good. Like, so good. Like, unbelievably good. Minus, some wall running issues and the stupid slopes, but whatever.
Yeah.
They never patched that out? With the slopes ending before they physically end?
I don't think that game has seen very many patches.
It's got like DLC now, I think, but it's still janky.
Does it?
Like, those slopes are still so janky.
It's a Star Wars game. It's got it. Like, contractually probably has to have DLC.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Go look at
I'm looking it up right now. If it's got DLC, I might pick it back up again.
It's meditation challenges. It's nothing story related. It's all just like combat challenges while you're meditating. which is not great in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's a story that I enjoyed. That's a world that I liked being in. But, I got my achievements. I got my, as I quoted on Twitter today, I got my double tap this weekend, which was Metro done and dusted, and then Jedi Fallen Order done and dusted as well. But I really enjoyed the time. I'm pretty sure we picked up Fallen Order day one. I loved it when I played it originally story-based. And now going back and just wrapping up those achievements, it's like I forgot how good it is to be in a game where you just get that whoom, and you just start slicing things up. And it's like, maybe the Purge Troopers are a bit too strong in the game. Like,
you have to give them one. For the thousands of stormtroopers that you kill in this game, they have to have something.
Yeah, I know, I get that, but like you get like the mercenaries who come after you as well, like the bounty hunters, and there's the dudes in the giant robots. Like, no, dude, I just sliced you in half. You should not still be coming at me.
Right.
And then it's the Star Wars thing. How do you make a video game where literally you can cut through everything? It's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun game. It was great. I didn't even care about like going and just getting all of the collectibles, like the quote unquote chore work of achievement hunting. It didn't bother me because like the collectibles in there build that world really well, and there's a lot of Star Wars lore in there.
Oh, nice.
So maybe, go wrap that stuff up, learn more about the Nightsiders, especially based on how many Star Wars TV shows have been announced recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing this week. It was a palate cleanser week for me.
Yeah. All right, Nim,
take her away, Nim.
Mine was not a palate cleanser week. Mine was I need to hurry up and bum rush this game, so it's just off of my things to do. And by that I mean I beat Assassin's Creed. Since our last podcast, that is the only thing that I had played until I had beaten the game, and that did not happen until Thursday night when Moon started getting some DMs from me about the ending. The story's really good.
Yeah.
The only real problem I have with this game is that I feel that they have spread it out to compensate for how large the map is, which kind of sucks.
Right.
But outside of that, though, it is worth, if you are enjoying the story, it's worth just mainlining the story to get to the end, and then maybe look up a video on the uber secret ending.
Oh, right.
Because there's a lot of stuff you have to do for that. I looked up what I needed to do for it, and I might do it.
You just like, nope.
Not this week, but I might get around to it. But yeah, I really enjoyed everything leading up to the ending. Once I got your brother back, it lulls a little bit, but then it picks back up again, and then next thing you know, you're finally at the end of the game. And like I was telling Moon, it seemed like I was having this issue where every time I went into a new area and beat it, they're like, oh, your princess is another castle. And it's like, no, she is here. Give me the story.
Oh my God, please. Yeah.
But eventually you get into this other area, and you kind of figure out, if you've played any Assassin's Creed before this, what's probably going to happen. And then stuff starts happening, and then it's really cool and it's done. And I'm like, but I kind of want more story now.
Yeah.
Well, you can buy the season pass. Yeah.
There's still other things that I have to check out. That's side quest related, that is kind of story related as well. The only thing that I have a gripe with for the end game stuff, or the end story stuff, and this isn't going to spoil anything unless you've beaten it.
Is it the 90 hours extra it takes to get there?
Well, that, but there's one thing that bothered me about the soft end story that I got, and that is, why was something not grown back when everything else was fine?
That's a really interesting way of phrasing that.
Yeah. Like I said, not going to make sense to anyone who hasn't seen the end of the game. Makes sense to everyone who has seen the game. So, it's a fun game. I understand. I beat it. I think it was 68 hours it took me to mainline everything and just do the story. That was all I was focused on. So I understand if you don't have that time right now, maybe hold off until the summertime when nothing's probably coming out. That'll probably be your game to hold you over until the end of the year, but really fun game. Yeah. That's all I have to say about that. After that, I played more Genshin Impact because I needed something that was a palate cleanser from life, and that's all I had on the side. Right. New banners coming out this week with a new character. There's an event going on right now for treasure hunting, which is kind of interesting. Nothing major's happening right now. They're just fixing everything that they released from the 1.2 patch, which didn't break anything, so that's cool. Yeah. After that, play some Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity with my kids. It supports 2-player mode, but nothing higher than that. So my daughter and I played a bunch of it. Excuse me, which is kind of funny considering that she's the one that's kind of weird about violence. Not weird. She's the normal one about violence where she doesn't really like it. But with this game, she was okay with it because you're not chopping off goblin heads and stuff like that. You're just hitting
They just like disappear.
And then they turn black and then they just poof and smoke. And she's okay with that. So she was playing a Zelda who uses the Sheikah Slate as a weapon. And what she actually does with it is all the Sheikah Slate powers that you had in Breath of the Wild, all your characters still have access to that in this. So you get like the bombs and the stasis.
Oh, and interesting.
What was the other thing? The ice, and there's one other one that I forgot. Freezing, maybe. I don't remember. Anyway, so you still have access to all of those, but Zelda, her actual attacks are just smaller versions of all of those Sheikah Slate powers. So when you start doing her heavy attack, she will grab like something heavy with the magnet. That's what it was, the magnet attack. She'll grab something heavy with it and smash it down on something, or she'll throw out some little bombs, or she'll throw out like a little ice attack or whatever. And she enjoyed it. And then she was looking at some of the other characters that I had unlocked, and she wanted to play as Mipha, one of the Guardians. And she starts playing with her, and she got a real kick that Mipha, when she runs on the map, she doesn't actually run. She's just swimming over land. She looks like a mermaid. Oh, okay. There's no water or no reason for why she's doing this. That's just how she runs. And she thought that was the funniest thing ever. So she played as that character for a couple hours. But yeah, Hyrule Warriors is still a really fun game. I just got, and I can't remember the bird guy's name, Rito? Or something
like that. Yeah.
I just got him, and it's really awesome because they really ham him up as a douche.
Oh, great.
Which, if you know any of the backstory, he really was a douche before Breath of the Wild came out.
Yeah, he's just a real jerk.
Yeah. So he has a solid knife that he wants to put in the back of Link, and it's kind of really awesome. And they actually fight because he believes that Link is not a good enough champion for Zelda. And you actually fight him one-on-one, and Zelda has to call it off, and he gets mad. He's like, why do you have this weakling defending you? And of course, Link doesn't talk at all, unfortunately, but there's some good banter in there about...
Zelda says, excuse me, he's a weak Link.
Yeah. There's good banter in there about how Link is constantly being called weak by this guy, and he just keeps giving him side-eye the entire time.
He can't even defend himself. Like, come on, man.
So, that's a lot of fun. And they keep it cartoony, too, so there's no... I think this thing's only rated teen. It's got to be for violence, at least. So there's nothing hardcore going on, and it's a Zelda property. There's never anything hardcore in there anyway. So,
right.
The last game that I was playing that isn't really a game per se is Ring Fit. I had ordered this thing, I don't know, months ago, and got put on a back order waitlist thing.
About May.
Yeah. And I finally got the confirmation like right after Christmas, and then it showed up this past Tuesday. And I've been messing with that, and that, for me so far, has been a pretty good way to get off my butt and exercise a little bit. The Ring Fit itself, or the actual ring, when you're using it at first, because I'm a big guy, but I'm not like muscle tone or anything. To me, squeezing it together didn't seem like it was going to do a whole lot. when you put like 500 presses on that thing, you feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different modes. I haven't checked out all of them, but there's obviously the main, I think they call it adventure mode. That's the one that's the story mode. You
RPG.
You have a leg strap that you put on your left leg that you put the left Joy-Con into, and then you put your right Joy-Con into the ring. And the leg strapped left Joy-Con is what measures you moving your legs up and down that way, because you have to run in this game, and it's just a rail that you're on. You're not actually running around. It's just this one track that you're on, and you're running towards the goal. And between you and the goal, there's things that you can, like, there's coins that you can collect and these medallions that you can grab, and you can and there's also boxes as well that you can break. So if you need to break a box, you squeeze the ring and it'll blow out air. That'll blow up the box. If there's rings on the side of the track that you're running on, you pull the ring apart and it'll suction it in.
Okay.
So you get that, and you're trying to do this while running, and you look like a fool. I mean, there's no getting around it. Especially in my small space, running in here and doing the exercises, I haven't had any issues. I basically push this chair into the corner up against my door, and I've got enough room to do everything so far. But running in place can take a lot out of you. Yeah. Especially because you're just doing normal jogging in place at first, then you get to some steps and it wants you to do some high jogging. It's like, okay, cool, so you do your high jogs and then you go back to your normal jogging, and then there's parts where it wants you to run really fast because all of a sudden you're on this escalator that's pushing you backwards.
Oh, okay.
So you have to run faster, and then you have to run faster while high stepping.
Oh,
so and you can tune the difficulty. When you turn this on for the first time, it will ask you a bunch of questions. It'll, ask you age, sex, if you want to put that in there, what your weight is, and what you're looking to get out of this. It'll say, hey, we recommend you being at this difficulty, but you can adjust it anytime from right there or anytime in the game if you feel like this is too difficult for you. Mm-hmm. At the end, once you've complete a world, because they go all Super Mario, where it's like, hey, you have this circle that you're going to. That's world 1-1, and this is 1-1-1 inside of that. So once you complete a section on the right Joy-Con, there's that infrared that you place your thumb on, and it'll monitor your heart rate. And then it'll give you a readout of, okay, this is what your heart rate's at now. This is, roughly how far you ran, what you did for exercise, the calories that you burned, and how do you feel with the current exercise that you did. And then you can rate it, and you can tell it, oh, this is fine, or you can adjust it to it needs to be tougher or it needs to be lower.
A sliding scale from this is fine to I'm dead.
Yeah. Right now, I think I'm at difficulty 12. Which is fine for me because I'm just doing like a quick 10-minute in the morning thing before I go to bed. So for me right now, it's fine. I might, I'm planning on adjusting it more as well, but I think it goes up to like 30 or 50.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just laughing because for those of you who don't know, you do the graveyard shift.
Yeah.
So when you say you play it in the morning before you go to bed, that's a bit of a strange.
Your brain was just like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing that I was kind of worried about with the jogging in place is because I live in an old house. So I can walk quietly through my house. The rest of my family, I know where they're at just by how they walk and where they're walking. So I was kind of worried about making too much noise to wake them up. Luckily, I found a solid floor spot, so it doesn't creak as much as the rest of the house. So it's not an issue right now.
Right.
But yeah, so once you complete that, it'll ask you, okay, how do you feel about the exercises that you're doing? And you can adjust it from there. And then you can move on to the next one, or you can take a break. Mm-hmm. Before you start, and once you finish, it'll have you do stretches, which I highly recommend anyone who picks this up, do both of them. Do the pre and the post, because the pre will help warm you up and get your heart going a little bit. The post is going to help so that your muscles don't seize up on you if you have that issue. Yeah. So eat a lot of potassium if you do.
right.
I'm not a health trainer. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's just what the game is telling me.
Right.
So outside of the adventure mode, and I'll get back to the battle systems and stuff like that in a minute, but outside of that, there are, I think it's 4 different modes that you can choose. One of them is like you listen to music while doing exercise thing. Another one is some companion challenge thing, it looks like, that I haven't checked out yet. But the other one that I've been doing is it's basically you put the Joy-Con into the ring, you shut your Switch off, and then you press, the R3 button, the nub. You push the nub in to activate it while it's in the ring, and your Switch stays off. And what you're doing here is every day you can do 500 presses or pulls with the ring. And it'll sit there and it'll make a ringing noise every time you do one, and then it'll do this celebratory thing every time you hit 100 until you get to 500, and then it'll shut itself off.
Interesting.
This in itself, it can kind of be a workout, because a lot of people have said online, oh, I'm sitting here pressing this thing and I get to 500, no problem. And everyone's like, push your arm, extend your arms all the way out, and then do it.
Right.
I was like, all right, cool. So I'm going to do that. I did 500, I'm going to call them presses, but they're not actually presses, of pressing this thing in, and I could feel it all up my arm, through my chest, and all up the other arm, like to the point of, oh man, I don't think I can lift something right now, because I pushed way too hard on that.
Right.
So I feel like this game could be a very good, at least starter way of getting into exercising a little bit, especially when you get into the battle system. So the battle system, I have 7 different things or exercises that I can do to fight monsters, and the monsters will randomly show up on the track depending on which world version you're in. You will find these ghosts that are just in the middle of the track, and you just run into them, and then battle starts. You start out where you have basically squats is one of your first attacks that you can do. And it starts out where I think it's like the first 7 of them, you do low and deep, and you hold it, and then it'll tell you, okay, stand up. It's like, all right, so you do that. And then once you get done with the quote-unquote low and deep ones, it wants you to go faster.
Oh, how dare they.
So, yeah, so you have this little bar, and the yellow ones are low and deep. The blue ones are, okay, just get the form and go up and down real fast. All right, cool. Doing that for 3 maps, you feel that in your legs. Yeah, on top of the jogging.
Right.
There's other ones where I was fighting a boss, and it's a yoga pose where you're basically going into the seated position. You have your arms above your head, and you basically bring the ring down slow, and that's one attack, and you bring it back up slow, and that's another attack. And it works on your arms a little bit, but it's mostly for your legs because you're holding this pose, which is kind of like a half squat. And it does a lot of damage, but it's kind of hard to keep it slow because I'm not used to doing that. It does a lot of damage
to you too.
Yeah. And it's not difficult. Like I said, you can do a lot of adjustments and stuff, and they also have a guide. So every time you get an exercise, this little guide called Tippy will it's basically Clippy. Companion. Yeah. He will come on and he will show you, okay, hey, to do this exercise, hold this thing, hold the ring in front of you, spread your legs a little bit, and he'll do, the 3, 2, 1 count, and then he will start doing the exercise, or she, you can pick either one. And they will start to do the exercise, and then you just kind of mimic them, and they will do the speed that you should be doing it, and you don't have to keep pace with them. As long as you're just doing it and you have the form proper, it doesn't matter if you're slower or faster, as long as you can keep up with it a little bit. So they will show you that as well. With the stretches as well, Tippy will show back up and do the stretches with you as well to show you form and all that. Yeah, I know. So
it's the name. It's Tippy.
I'm pretty sure it's Tippy. It might be Tip or something. I don't remember.
I just keep thinking of Clippy. So it's like I noticed you're trying to do squats.
I'm thinking, which is basically a paperclip unfolding himself into a circle, so you could then use him to do the
paperclip doing child's pose.
Yeah. So The game is very helpful in trying to get you to exercise and exercise properly. I have seen a lot of people online who know more, who have been doing exercises longer than I have, saying it could be a little more helpful on proper form.
Sure.
But for what it is a good alternative to doing nothing. Which is kind of all I wanted, was just to kind of, because believe it or not, since I stopped working production 2 years ago and have a comfy IT office desk chair, I don't move around a whole lot as I used to. I'm not getting those 14 miles a day walking back and forth between machines. So I'm lucky if I get maybe a mile in a night, maybe. So yeah, so I just wanted something to help move me along a little bit more. Finally got that in, and it seems to be working so far. Every day I'm doing something. I'm hard set on doing the main campaign at least 3 times a week. And I have a day of rest in between those, and then any day that I'm not doing the actual campaign workout, I'm doing I forget what it's called now, but the off mode where I'm just stretching or pressing the ring. Which was funny too, because I had my wife do that. She was doing that same thing where she had it really close to her body, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I can do this all day." And I'm like, "All right, hold it out." And she holds it out, and she's like, "I can't do it." I'm like, "Yeah, not so smooth now, are you?"
Right. And your like arms are dead at your sides, like, look who's cool now.
Yeah. It's like, can you put that back for me now? I can't lift it.
Right, exactly. Can you give me a drink, please?
Well, yeah, that's all I've been doing this week.
Nice.
Boston?
I talked about looking at the list of stuff you got installed on your Xbox. I decided to start up Carto? That game.
Yep, which is on my list of games to complete.
Yeah, boy, made it about 10 seconds into playing that game before it made me woefully nauseous. Literally immediately. As soon as you have control of your character, I moved and I was just like, ooh, there's something about your character and the background move at different frame rates. I don't know if it's my TV. I don't know what it is. I was just like, as soon as I started moving, I was like, okay. All right. That hit me immediately. All right, let me try like looking at the character. Ooh, that made it worse. Okay. Let me try and fight through this. And like literally probably about 45 seconds there, I'm like, oh, this game is so cool. Okay, I got to uninstall it. So I played about 3 minutes of Carto. Seems really cool. Just a full-on vomitorium. I don't... Just one of those things that I know I'd love it, and my body or my brain does not. So, 07 Carto, you looked really good. Next game, Immortals Fenyx Rising. Played a whole ton of this week because it's Assassin's Creed without all the stabbing. I went through and I was spending so much time in the first area, Dragon Quest Inquisition's hinterlands, where it's like, just get out of the hinterlands. So I was unfogging the rest of the map. I started some other missions for one of the other gods, and there's just icons all over my map right now, and it's awesome.
Oh, so it's a Ubisoft open world game.
Yeah, but it's not... The interesting thing about it is it's like the inverse of the problem that the Assassin's Creed games have. Assassin's Creed games are huge, and there's a lot of stuff to do in them. Fenyx Rising is a very small map comparatively, but it's like densely packed with stuff. So you can kind of be in one location, like maybe, I'm going to go climb this mountain and see what's up there. There's usually something up there. And then within like 200 or 300 meters around you, there's like 5 other things. So it's very much the opposite thing, which feels a lot more like what the Zelda games are trying to do, in kind of an interesting way.
It looks like the map, if I had to compare it, is maybe slightly bigger than the Norway map. Less water, but
I would say, yeah. So it's big, but I think the game is really trying to like push the diversity of the map and then kind of just pack it full of stuff, which I think is is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The problem I ran into is I ran into a progression blocking bug.
Oh, no.
Where I was doing these missions for Athena. And it's kind of neat, because you'll meet a god, and they'll be in trouble of some sort, because it's, Greek myths. And through helping them, they're going to give you 3 boons. Like, the first one you get is, for the first god, is like every 20 minutes a bar fills, and if your health depletes, it just brings you back to life, and takes 20 minutes to sort of refill that bar again, which isn't that much because you're not fighting a whole ton. And that's just like the first of 3 boons from that god. So I'm going through, and I'm like trying to get out of the hinterlands and make progression in the rest of the game. And I said, all right, I'm going to focus on this second area I unlocked. I don't know if that's the second place you're supposed to go to, but whatever. I'm just going to do it. I do the first couple of missions, and it's fine. Like, one of the first missions, the game is like, hey, man, I saw this thing over here that might be a bird. Do you want to... Oh, you already did it. Okay, cool. You get this one mission where it's... The game says, oh, you have to remember Heracles' labors. Go over here to this temple. It's like, okay, cool. So you go to the temple, and you see right in front of it, in this giant mountain that's next to it, there's this huge carving of Cerberus's 3 heads. And in the left one is a piece of ambrosia. And if you collect enough of those, you get another pip on your health bar. So I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah, let me go up there and let me go grab that bad boy before I forget about it. It marks it on the map when you see it anyway, but why not climb up a mountain and get a health upgrade? So I go up there, I grab it, and I see in the mouth next to me, there's a vault. And that's like the shrines in Zelda. They don't take super long. They're usually a fun puzzle. This one happened to be an arena one. So you kind of fight a couple of waves of enemies, you fight a boss, and then you're done with it. I come out of that vault, and I go investigate the thing that the game wanted me to. And it's like, all right, figure out which one of Heracles' labors is the right one. And there's like 4 of them. But, Nimp, you've probably seen this in the game. If it's something that's locked, it has like a red coating on it. It has like a little lock symbol above it.
I find it mostly with those braziers that you have to relight or whatever. You got to find the switch,
you have to like unlock it, and then literally everything you can interact with in this area is covered in that locked stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like trying a bunch of stuff to see if I can unlock it, because that's a lot of what these puzzles are in this game, where it's like you look at an area and you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do? You try a bunch of stuff and you're like, oh, okay, if I put this here, that unlocks that. I like this brazier and it unlocks that. Okay, cool. So I'm like trying a whole bunch of stuff and I'm like, God, nothing is unlocking here. Like, what's going on here? So I Google it, and everyone's like, oh, out of the 4 of them, just do the number 12 one. That's the right one. You don't have to waste your time with the other ones. It's like, yeah, but the thing I stand on is locked. What's going on? So I do the same search, and I add the word bug on the end. Whole bunch of results. So what you're supposed to do is go to that area, interact with that thing to make all those labors appear, do the 12th labor, then go into the mouth, which is then supposed to open after you do that labor, and do that vault in there. Since I did them backwards, I can't finish the game.
Nice.
Because it's one of the main missions for the game, and I can no longer complete it. Good news story is that Ubisoft is aware of it.
Yeah, Ubisoft are aware of a lot of its bugs based on everything I've been looking up.
The bad news is they can't reproduce it. So the forum thread is now, hey guys, does anyone want to send us their save files? And it's like, oh boy. So
no, not at all.
I have really been enjoying Immortals Fenyx Rising, and that kind of took the wind out of my sails. Like, there's so much more in the game that I can do, but that like really ground me to a halt, where it's kind of like, oh, okay, I mean, I could play all this other stuff in the game, but like, what does it really matter? So
yeah, I mean, what good is a labyrinth without a Minotaur?
that's right.
Yeah.
So I am bummed for like a number of reasons, because I felt like I was making really steady progress in that. And that kind of got ground to a halt. I'm sure Ubisoft will put out a patch in no time, and it'll be like, oh, now it's just whatever, a progression bug on this thing has been fixed, like they've been doing with Valhalla. But we'll see. I'll put it to the side for now, I guess. That's fine. No big deal. That's fine. The last game I
Eeyore phase there, huh?
Yeah, like it's fine. The last game I played, though, however, was another, hey, if I can't play Carto, let's play something else on my Xbox that's available on Game Pass. So, thanks to T-Bomb Rocks from the community, who recommended Monster Sanctuary, which I didn't realize fully what it is, and it's 100% a game for me. It is a turn-based monster catching and raising Metroidvania. So, checks like 4 boxes all at once.
I have it installed, I just haven't played any of it yet.
I played probably about maybe an hour or an hour and a half this morning, and it leaves a really good first impression. You get like an intro that's maybe 2 minutes long. You pick what your character wants, what you want your character to look like. You pick one of the 4 starter Pokemon, for lack of a better term. And then the game just kind of dumps you in the world. And it's like, yeah, man, all right, let's go. Let's start playing this thing. And it is a 2D sort of platforming based Metroidvania with the map and everything, and like breakable walls for secrets. And you can tell there's a double jump at some point. And then when you run into monsters on the map, it gives you like your standard Pokemon, like here's your 3 monsters, there's their 3 monsters, set up your party, and here's what the enemies are weak to and all that. And then you start a battle, and it's pretty much just a turn-based, full-on like Pokemon JRPG thing. But really, hopefully that doesn't scare anyone off. It's not like a whole full thing. Like it's pretty light here at the beginning. And a lot of times how you recruit monsters is when you defeat a new monster you don't have yet, there's a chance for it to drop an egg. When you interact with that egg in your inventory, it just says, all right, it hatched. What do you want to name it? So it's not like play 30 minutes of the game. It's just like, no, man, you got the egg. Whatever, let's hatch it. Let's get on with it. And the thing that I was most surprised about is each individual monster has a really big skill tree associated with it. And they give you skill points pretty quickly, which is nice. And you're unlocking stuff pretty early and pretty quickly that's making significant changes to how your party members attack. Like the bird I got pretty early on has like a party-wide buffing thing, and if you upgrade that buff, it either lasts longer or does like double what it would before, where it's like, oh, if it increased your strength by 2, now it increases by 4, and it'll give all of your party members another random buff on top of it. So far, really surprisingly pretty good. It's checking a lot of boxes for me personally, but it seems like it's one of those ones that I can easily recommend people to at least check out, because it's not like the current Pokemon games, or like a lot of Zelda pulls this same BS where it's just like, all right, settle in for your 4-hour tutorial. It's like, I know how to press the A button to jump. It's a 2D platformer. Like, I got it. I hit the X button to interact with stuff. I hit the X button to have my monster do stuff in the world to like open up new pathways. I get it. I use the fire one to burn down vines. Got it. It's a game. Like, and it's nice to have a game take off the training wheels almost immediately and just kind of let you go play and explore. So, Monster Sanctuary on Game Pass, so far, really enjoying it. It's one of those ones where it's like, oh, I gotta go make lunch for my family, and I want to play more Monster Sanctuary because I just got the key and I could go this other area. It's like, okay, all right, I gotta be an adult for like 5 minutes, I guess, and record a podcast or whatever. Monster Sanctuary seems pretty great. Normally, go ahead.
I would also recommend eShade if you're looking for Xbox Game Pass games to play.
I wonder if I have that installed.
It's the screenshot painting game I started but never got around to playing.
Oh, yeah. I think I have that installed. I have, like, Yes, Your Grace installed. I have that JRPG Shadow of Mordor roguelike installed that I'll never remember the name of. I have that, like, Double Kick Heroes game installed that you recommended a while ago. Yeah.
Have fun with feeling real old real quick.
Yeah, that game's tough, yeah.
I'm looking at some of the monsters from Sanctuary and some of this dumb stuff. They have an orca with legs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's really good.
They've got a thing that straight up looks like the Blastoids.
Mm-hmm.
And then a mole bear, which looks like a weird hedgehog with really long claws.
I also asked my kid to name all of the monsters I'm running across. So all of the 7 monsters that I have right now are all named Pink. And that probably will not be confusing at all pretty shortly.
It also looks a lot like Terraria.
Yeah,
the art style is very Terraria,
yeah. It animates a lot better. Like there's a lot more character to it. I'm not the biggest fan of how Terraria looks, but it kind of looks like it might be like the next step of that.
Cool.
But yeah, it seems cool so far. I'm enjoying it. Normally this is where we would take a break, but literally nothing video game related has happened this week, so we're just going to kind of wrap up the show with the release for the week of January 11th, 2021, which is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, Complete Edition. Comes out for PC, Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Stadia. If you haven't played this before, it's a really great time. It is especially good with friends. The co-op in this is great, and I'm glad that it's coming back. And I will probably buy a physical edition of this game for obvious reasons.
Is that the one that's coming a limited run?
Limited run, yeah.
Yeah, they have 2 editions. I would really like the big edition they do, because it has like the case opens up to a stage that has lights that plays like a custom song the band wrote for it. It's $140, and I cannot justify that because I need a new video card.
Dude, I love what limited run is doing for their special editions or collector's editions, whatever, because that's the stuff I miss from like working designs and stuff like that.
Yes,
but they need to start doing more JRPGs so that I can spend $150 on JRPGs.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if there's anyone doing that stuff. I feel like not really, other than Square, where it's like buy it through the Square store. It's like I would rather not.
NIS and Atlas tend to have pretty decent, but that's pretty much where all the JRPGs are coming from in America. So
that's true. Yeah, those 3, they all got them.
Yeah.
And no news stories and questions this week. So that's our episode for the week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. TVGP.tv is where you can visit us and find and follow us everywhere on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. Talked about all the cool benefits at the top of the show. You get all that stuff. You help me pay for the show. If you want to know where all the money goes, I'm really transparent about all the costs around the show. There's information on the Patreon page there. And you can help us get to the $250 tier, where I play some scary games. The other 2 people on this episode will probably be laughing at me in chat, and I don't blame them. So get us up to that value, and you can have me pee myself on stream. Everyone wins. It's great. We already talked about We Roguelike It and Game Club. Game Club recap recording is going to be coming up this week for Metro 2033 Redux. Sorry, not XS. Metro Exodus is the new one coming out.
After 5 weekend month, I didn't realize it was a 5 weekend month.
For the next one?
For this one.
Yeah. And I think that's it. So we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye. I can say bye as many times as I want. He leaves this whole thing in the show.
I do. And I put it in for patrons, too.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I only have one title, so I hope you guys got some stuff. Nip, why don't we start with you?
I got two that really called out to me.
Okay.
One is Goodnight Pen.
Okay.
And the other one is I See You're Doing Squats.
Okay. I see you're, can't write, doing squats. And Moon?
Eyes of Judgment. Minimalist Games. You Have Zero Excuses. Love their second album. Please Say Dizzy. Not This Week. And A Weak Link.
I forgot about that. A weak link. The only title I had was Basic Functionality. Goodnight Pen, I See You're Doing Squats, Eyes of Judgment, and A Weak Link.
Boy, we were kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
I mean, I like Weak Link for just like the ultimate punniness.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, for me, I think Weak Link is probably the best one. It might not be a strong link, but it's a strong title.
Heyo! I can go with that. I don't. This is one of the few weeks where I don't feel super attached to any of these.
Yeah. I'm cool.
Okay. I'll circle it. Circle. Let me know when you guys are ready.
I don't know. I'm tired.
Yeah. We're done early this week. That's great.
True.
Holy crap, yeah, super early.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm as ready as I'll ever be, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, starting in 3,
Where's
2.
that enthusiasm?
That's right. Bring out your inner Eeyore. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 690 for January 11th, 2021. A Weak Link.
Just shy, that's all.
Link doesn't talk a whole lot.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, listening, watching, hanging out with us live. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
I figured you were just going to keep going, yeah.
Just he's
we
going
got
to still keep doing it as he leaves the room. Bye.
Yeah, we have a whole other hour to fill of Moon just saying bye.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon.com/E1M1. All right, bye. And we can stop recording.